All right, welcome to the Sports Guys. Another great episode we have planned for you guys today. Today we're going to be talking about these great NFL playoffs that are about to kick off this weekend. Fortunately, my Panthers made it in. I was really excited about that. And we also have, of course, the college football playoffs going on at the same time. So we have so much football. It's almost incredible to try to see all of it and understand all of it. But how you doing, Robbie?
Doing great, doing great. Just getting excited. So much good football over the next 5 days. I've been getting so pumped listening to McAfee talk about it and
Mm-hmm.
all the sports radio. Just one playoff game after another, one
Mm-hmm.
consequential playoff game at the college level, pro level. Just so much. So I love it.
It is
Just
amazing.
got my Mike McDaniel jersey, Dolphins jersey. So excited about that.
I'm glad you did that. Good.
I'm just kidding.
It's a
Yeah,
memento.
so Mike McDaniel's looking for work.
They're saying that the Commanders
Yeah.
are going to talk to him next week for OC.
I mean, he'd be a fantastic coordinator.
He'd be a good OC for Dan Quinn.
He'd be a good OC for a bunch of teams.
Hmm.
So,
He'd probably like to work with Jaden
a lot of good
Daniels.
stuff.
I could see that partnership.
Yeah, yeah.
What are your big themes going into these NFL playoffs? I mean, we've talked about our big themes a week ago on the college one, but
Well, I think we constantly touch on the parity of the NFL, and I think ultimately what you have is a wide open field. I really will be surprised if there's just blowout after blowout. I mean, I think there could be one here or there, but I don't think it could be predicted because if you look at every single team has some kind of flaw, and every team in the playoffs has a strength. So if they can maximize their strengths and stay away from where they're weak, they got a shot at beating whoever they're playing. Like there's no such thing as a
hmm
surefire bet. So um I think that it's really refreshing having a whole bunch of new teams in this year.
hmm
And so I think that parity is this is what it looks like. When you talk
hmm
about parity, this is what it looks like. 6 out of 14 teams are new to the playoffs this year
hmm
and weren't in last year. So that's almost half. And that's exciting. I mean, there's nothing predictable about that.
and you have all these teams that were juggernauts the last 10, 15 years that are not in the playoffs this year. You got the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes are not there. You
Yeah,
got Lamar.
Ravens.
Lamar and the Ravens didn't make it. All these big
Yeah.
juggernauts you're used to seeing that are not there. Even Washington Commanders, who went to the NFC Championship game, didn't make it
hmm
this year. So
Yeah,
it's it's
Detroit.
exciting.
I mean,
Detroit,
they
yeah,
melted down. Tampa Bay looked like they were cruising in the
they were
first half
six
of the
and
year.
two. Yep.
Minnesota looked like a strong team at the beginning of the year. That was weird. Um,
And then you have
so
teams that did make it that I don't think are going to win the Super Bowl. I think people, I mean, teams like the Eagles that are the defending champs. I mean, they have a chance, but they don't look anything like the team that won it last year. I mean, not even close. They can't run the ball as well. Their passing is very ineffective. Jalen
I
Hurts
think
isn't
they
running the
can
ball
run
as
though.
much.
They're getting Lane Johnson back,
Yeah.
and they have Saquon Barkley. I think it's a huge mistake. The If I'm the Eagles, I'm kind of excited because I'm flying in under the radar and I'm a Super Bowl champion.
Hmm.
I've never seen a more disrespected Super Bowl champion in
It's
terms
true.
of the way they're being analyzed. I get it. Like I don't think they're gonna roll through or anything, but if you tell me they get a little bit hot and they start
Hmm.
pounding Saquon and that defense comes alive, I won't be that surprised.
Was it
I
surprising
think
to you that the hottest teams at the end of the year were the teams that are kind of those top five defensive teams? We're talking the Houston Texans, we're talking the Jacksonville
yeah,
Jaguars,
Jaguars,
all these teams. Did that
Texans,
surprise you that those
Broncos.
teams were coming on the hottest?
No, because generally speaking, you need to be able to run the ball and play defense to go deep in the playoffs against the best teams. Therefore, those are the teams that are going to consistently win the most games.
Hmm. Right.
The teams that get in shootouts lose a lot of them.
So then
The
the other
teams that
narrative that's been hitting us the last couple days, and you talked about it this morning in our morning drive we have every single day, and it was this whole idea that with no Lamar, no Burrow, and no Mahomes, there's no more excuses for Josh Allen. And
Right.
I think that's an interesting narrative. I don't think it's true, by the way, because his team is maybe 12th or 13th best team in these 14. So in terms of
Yeah,
the
but
roster, but
but but
he doesn't have.
if you're going up against inferior competition in theory, and you still can't get it done, then stop saying, best quarterback in football, MVP. If the only way you're an MVP is if you elevate everybody around you, make them better.
No, but he
And
could be the
if
best quarterback in football, but he could be with a very flawed team, which he is. He's with a very flawed
I
roster,
don't know.
and
I mean,
that's the way I look at it.
it's partly what they're paying him is why they have to have an inferior team around him because
I
he
mean,
costs a lot of money. I think that there's two wildly overrated quarterbacks in the NFL, in my opinion, and they're Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. And I would love to have both of them. And I'd love to have, I think they're very good quarterbacks, historically good, but not MVP type quarterbacks because I think they're not even the best player on their team. I think in both cases, their running backs are the best player on both of those teams.
but
And
then you have to try to.
when the Ravens went away from running Henry, they lost. And the when the Bills don't run Cook like wild, they lose. It has nothing to do with their quarterbacks being the best of all time or all this other hype.
Yeah,
It's
but the same thing applies to Joe Burrow. 5 years ago, he shocked the whole world and took his team all the way to the Super Bowl, knocked Mahomes out of the playoffs, and hasn't done anything since. And it's because his team is not very good, and they just haven't been good for a long time at almost any
well,
of the major positions.
The Bengals are much worse than the Bills. I
I
mean,
know, but I'm just
as a team.
saying, don't you think he's probably either one of the best or the best quarterback in football? So my point is
I think Burrow is, but he's on a really bad team. Nobody could say the Bills are a bad team.
they're not
They're
a bad
just
team, but
not
they're
full
very
of
incomplete.
stars,
They're very
and
incomplete.
it's partly because of what they pay Josh Allen.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
they can't afford to have, you know, top picks all around him and stuff. So
If you were
I
talking
don't
him
know.
one on one against those other guys, I would say he's the better quarterback against most of them. But
I
if
think the
you're
Bills
talking
have a
about
legitimate
roster,
shot. I think the Bills have a legitimate shot at surviving round one of the playoffs. The only way they do it, though, is if Cook gets more than 110 yards rushing.
hmm, I agree.
And if they don't, I don't care what Allen does. I know that he's a weapon, but they've been consistently down in the late third quarter, fourth quarter, and having comebacks. That's not going to happen against the top defenses in the playoffs.
Hmm.
That's what I believe. I believe if they get down by two scores, it's over in the
Hmm.
third and fourth quarter.
Don't you think that they're a tougher matchup though for the Jaguars than the Broncos would be? I mean, the Jaguars just beat the Broncos by 3 touchdowns just about a month ago.
I think the Jaguars are a tough matchup for the Bills because they're the number one ranked defense against the rush,
Hmm.
and they'll force Josh Allen to throw the ball a lot. And I think that's when the Bills are going to get in trouble. And
Hmm.
I think the Jaguars' offense is strong enough to put a hurt on the Bills' defense. So the Bills are going to be chasing, and they're not going to be able to come back on the Jags in the third and fourth quarter, being down by several scores, like they did all year. And the only reason they're in the playoffs is because of all those fourth quarter comebacks, which isn't going to
Hmm.
happen in the playoffs.
It's true. So one of the
So
things we're seeing just a little bit in the college playoff is you're seeing some of the blue bloods that are starting to fade a little bit, or if not fade, then not make it all the way. And you're seeing some new guys come up. You're seeing the Indianas of the world. You're seeing the Oregons, and I like that in the NFL. I think the NFL has mastered the art of parity. I mean, you
yeah,
really
no question.
you go into this playoff, and I really have struggled all week thinking about this episode on who I'm going to pick when we do our bracket picks. It's not easy to say who's going to win these games because every team has some kind of flaw or multiple flaws.
I think every team is flawed and every team has strengths, and the best coaches are going to be able to maximize their own strengths
Hmm.
and minimize exposure to their flaws. If you're not very good against the run, you're going to be able to do things like bring up some extra support from your linebackers. you're going to get out to a big lead early if you can,
Mhm.
so that the other team's forced to throw, that kind of thing. So you want to figure out, how do we win this game? What is going to be our strategy? Do we want to keep it low scoring, fewer possessions on all sides by grinding it out? Do we get into a shootout? Do we trust our defense? Is this a good matchup for us? Is the quarterback on the other side capable of taking his team on his back and
Mhm.
carrying them?
So you mentioned a couple elements that you have to have this time of year to win. One is defense, the other one's running the
Hmm.
ball, the other one's being able to shut down the run. But the other
Hmm.
two are coaching and quarterback. And that's why the Chiefs have been there every single year except for this year. They went 8 straight
No
years to the
question.
AFC Championship game.
Well, they
And
actually got there through different ways.
Drew,
2 years ago, they got there because of their defense.
mhm.
So they've had different paths to get there. Obviously, Mahomes and Reed are stabilizing forces that kept everything going offensively. But they've had a different journey every year.
Mhm.
And
But in these
last year they were
playoffs,
definitely last year they were depleted and they weren't as good, and so they didn't look as good in the Super Bowl. And then this year they clearly continued that slide, and they got a little bit old and a little slow and a little not very imaginative, and they ended up losing a bunch and getting, actually they're in a good position for a nice draft pick. So
but in these playoffs, if each of these matchups, including second round, third round, come down to a very close situation, maybe 1 or 2 points, then I'm going to lean towards the better quarterback, better coach situation. It delivers in the playoffs.
I'm going to lean towards who can run the ball and play defense, especially against the run, the best.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, that's where I'm going, is keeping grinding it on the ground so that it opens up the pass. I don't like opening up the pass so that you can run the ball in the fourth quarter and stuff. I don't think that works as well in the playoffs. I think it works throughout the year, but we'll see. We'll see. I think that I like that there's a bunch of new teams in there, and
Me too.
a bunch of new quarterbacks, new experiences, new faces, and it's an exciting time. NFL's done a really good job of
Hmm.
parity. It's not just that good teams lose; it's that mediocre teams can become better and get up there
Hmm.
and get into relevancy. So
That's right.
that's the key.
So, any thought about the Panthers being the only team in NFL history to make the playoffs with two different losing records? We've done it twice. Of course, I'm very happy they're in, but any thought about that? And should they be hosting a playoff game? I mean, there's a lot of debate about
No,
maybe they should be in because they won their division, yes, but maybe they shouldn't be hosting this game. Maybe it should be in LA.
yeah, they shouldn't be hosting it. I feel like they have almost no chance. Even though I like them a lot because I think they can run the ball. They haven't run the ball effectively recently,
In a
which
long
is
time.
kind of
Hmm.
scary. Um, if you can't run the ball and you're the Panthers, you are not going to win this game.
Hmm.
Period. It's not going to be a Bryce Young pulling it off, carrying the team on his back. All they
I
got to
agree.
do really, if you stop the run, is shut down Tet McMillan. I don't think Coker can carry the team, so it's just the Panthers got a shot because they're good against the run, relatively speaking, but they're not impressive in any stat category. They're not impressive
Hmm.
defensively or offensively.
Hmm.
And I love Derek Brown
Hmm.
completely. I think he's
Fantastic.
one of the best in the league.
JC Horns had his best season by far. He's been
Casey
fantastic.
Horn's playing much better and he's healthy, which is nice. But I just think that they've got some weaknesses. And I love some of their scrappy linebackers. So it's exciting to have them in the playoffs, but I don't think there's much there that I have very little notes on the Panthers because they grade down so low
Hmm.
in so many categories.
I like Rosebloom. He's been a lot of fun to watch. He's
Yeah.
not Keekly,
Yep.
but he's a lot of fun. He's a rover.
He's a very exciting, chippy player who flies around.
Let's go dive into the material. Here we go.
Do it. Yeah.
All right, let's do a shout out to our sponsor for tonight, and that is Academy Sports. They've been a longtime sponsor of the program. We love Academy Sports. We get a lot of our equipment, our shoes, and other things there. Robbie, what do you love about Academy?
Love it. They're always there for all of our sporting needs. The boys are playing a bunch of different sports now, so it's constant trying to keep up with everything. They're growing like weeds, so that we're always replenishing, refreshing. We just had Christmas, got a bunch of stuff, fishing equipment and everything else. We are excited. Their birthday's coming. We're gonna get biking stuff. So Academy Sports has everything you need. They have great equipment choices, colors, sizes, different brands, and good pricing. So I love it. It's nearby, so proximity, it's really, really good. And you wanna not everything needs to be bought online. I mean, sometimes you want to go in, try something on, see it in person, put your hands on it, feel what the material feels like, whether it's good quality. And Academy Sports has incredible quality, so can't highly recommend it enough because it's so good, and we're so proud to have them as a sponsor. They really do it right, and we love getting all our stuff there.
They've got amazing selection. They have really nice people. Every time I walk around, I just find something else I love. And so, guys, go check out Academy when you get a chance. Check academysports.com. Go check out their app, or else go into one of their stores and check it out today.
They've been a great sponsor, and they do everything right as a company. I'm really proud to be affiliated with them, and we can't wait to get the next stuff for the boys. So go check them out. Go get your stuff there, and you will be glad you did.
See you next time. All right, this is our NFL playoffs preview show, episode 102, Robbie. Everyone heading towards Super Bowl 60. Can you believe we actually hit 60 now? So
I
pretty
can't believe
exciting.
it. I can't believe we've done 102 episodes.
I know. And we've
What
done
are we
actually
doing?
more than that. We've done more than that, actually, but named
I know. Yeah,
episodes.
that's right. We have.
But really exciting just to think about. And of course, we did this logo at the beginning of the season. We put the sports guys in the middle and did the NFL recap and Super Bowl logo around it. Well, now we're here. Now we're in the tournament. So
That's wild.
pretty cool to think about. Yeah. So Super Bowl 60 is going to be scheduled for Sunday, February 8th, 2026 at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California. That's San Francisco area. And it's the second time they've hosted the NFL championship game. They're going to have Bad Bunny set to headline the halftime show, promising a major event for the Bay Area. What's interesting is they also hosted 10 years ago Super Bowl 50. So this same stadium had 50 and now 60. So thoughts about this venue, San Francisco Bay Area? I think it was a really good Super Bowl last time.
Should be a great one, honestly. Uh, San Francisco is a cool town to visit. I went there for a football game one time against the Rams. Very cool. It's a neat city, especially to visit. I think expensive to live, but very cool city to visit. It's kind of a party. They have amazing food. Very cool venue for a Super Bowl. I think they'll throw a good
Mhm.
party.
I do too. Broadcast partner is NBC, Telemundo, and Peacock. So it's kind of
Hmm.
interesting to see they've got it this year. A lot of controversy around the Bad Bunny pick, and there's a bunch of counter programming that's happening on like 5 other different channels with all kinds of different artists and singers and all kinds of things that's going on, including even the Comedy Central channel is going to be doing something.
Hmm.
So people are trying to take advantage of that big audience who, may want to tune into something else. So that'll be interesting to see how much of a drop off they have of viewers at halftime who come back to the second half, obviously. So, any other thoughts about this hosted Super Bowl in Santa Clara?
Not really. I think that the weather should be decent, cool, but nice, not bad, which
Mhm.
is good. I'm always, you know how I am about, I don't like bad weather games. I think they're really fun to play in and they're kind of fun to watch, but I don't want it to be a consequential playoff game. I want to see great high speed football with great hitting and high flying, throwing and running. I don't want to see slipping everywhere and I don't want to see 9-6. I just
I
and
agree. And
snow everywhere. I don't want to see it.
last year they hit an all time record of 780 million watchers all over the world. I assume that number will only go up if we have a really premier matchup. It often determines, what the kind of viewership we have is based on how good the game is going to be. I know that you and I both like the commercials, and I've always said that you missed
Mm-hmm.
your calling in the advertising business. But um,
Maybe.
I noticed the last couple of years, though, Robbie, I'm not as interested in the commercials as I used to be. I go out of the room or go get a drink, or I used to
Yeah,
be
same.
really, really
I've
riveted to
been
it.
I've been hosting some groups to come over usually lately. So I'm usually busy. I'm usually
Mhm.
putting together more snacks or saucing the wings or whatever. And
Mhm.
been, a little too busy to sit and stare at commercials.
Mhm.
But I do enjoy them and I got my eye on them as I'm doing other things.
Mhm. You think that Bad Bunny was chosen just because of the controversy? I think that maybe they were trying to generate some controversy, which usually has a viewership impact.
I think it's a difficult thing to make everyone happy and they decided to go that direction. I
Mhm.
don't think much about it, to be honest. It's not
What
a
do you
big,
think?
I know it's a cultural division, but I don't know. I
When
don't
you
know
look
much
at
about Bad Bunny and I don't really watch the halftime show usually. Like I
when
watch
you
some of it, but I'm usually busy.
when you look at the 14 team field, what do you think is the chances that the 49ers are actually hosting this game in their home stadium?
Very small.
Very small. I
Hmm.
think so too.
I really
Yeah,
like the Niners. I think I love Brock Purdy. I think he's underrated. He's always at the top in the league in QBR.
but not
He's been getting
impossible
hurt
if they
a
keep
little
it
bit.
hot, right?
They're gonna get a little healthier with Trent Williams coming back and stuff, but gosh, man, that defense is bad. That defense
Yeah,
is real bad.
it's not impossible though for them to get hot.
They're they're
They
dead
can score
last in
more points.
sacks. They have
Yeah.
20 sacks on the year. They're 32nd out of 32 teams.
That was the
Their
most
defense
shocking
is
stat
not
you told
good.
me today. Yeah, their defense is really Swiss cheese.
It's
Yeah.
not good.
So
Their offense
looking
is
at
very good. Brock Purdy has the second ranked QBR. Not a surprise. He always is top five. He's very underrated. He's really, really efficient with the ball. McCaffrey's eighth ranked running back.
mhm,
And they're seventh in yards. Their offense is very powerful, very good. Uh, but they've had injuries and weird stuff with their wide receiver not checking back in. Like, who
I know.
knows what's going on there? Um, but they got a good running game. I
Right.
like their tight end a lot. Purdy's awesome. And if their line can hold up and do well, their offense is going to put up points. Their
It
defense
is.
is going to give up points. So they're going to get outscored at some point.
That's right. So looking at the final power rankings ending the year, Seattle comes in first, New England second, the Jaguars third, Broncos fourth, and Rams fifth. Of course, that's a precipitous fall. The Rams were in first place for a lot of the year, and then about 4 weeks ago, the Rams started playing bad football, and their defense started really playing badly. And they've dropped quite a bit here recently. They
And
got,
I've seen different versions of this power rankings.
yeah, sure.
Um, I've seen Denver one, Seattle two, Patriots three, Jaguars four, Rams five, Niners six,
Hmm.
Houston seven, Bears eight, Bills nine, Eagles
Hmm.
10, 11 Chargers, 12 Carolina, 13 Green Bay, 14 Pittsburgh. So,
Hmm.
it's there's different ways to analyze these teams. I think the more lists you're at the top end, the more legitimate you are. So,
And I think that this top eight or so is about right. I mean, that's the way I would rank them. Maybe a little bit here, up and down, but for the most part, those are the best eight teams I think right now going into the playoffs. And I don't have a
who do you think's the hottest team?
hottest team is the Jaguars in my opinion.
Yeah, it's got to
Um,
be it's three there's three teams that jump out at me for hottest team. Jaguars, Seattle, and the Broncos. The Broncos have won 12 of their last 13 games.
I know, but if you really watch a lot of those Bronco games, I don't know how they're doing it. I
I
really
know.
don't. I
I
still
know.
don't
They're
understand it.
finding
But
ways. They're
yeah, they're
finding ways
finding.
and not playing very well. So imagine if they start clicking.
I think the best team in football is the Seattle Seahawks in terms of roster. I don't think it's even particularly close. They have the highest rank, both offense and defense. But hottest would be Jaguars, and I think maybe the second hottest right after them would be the Houston Texans. They just the way they entered the last
Yeah,
part of the season was pretty incredible.
their
They're playing
offense isn't
defense.
very prolific
It's
though.
not good. It's not good.
If you stop Nico Collins, they got nothing.
You look at those defensive tiers in the middle there, and there's only 6 teams considered elite when they did the big poll of all the sports writers, and that is the Texans, the Seahawks, the Rams, the Broncos, the Patriots, and the Green Bay Packers. And I thought that was really weird that the Packers were in there because they've been
I
playing
don't
so
put the Packers in there at
well.
all.
Yeah, I
There's
would
only
drop
one
them in.
defensive there's only one defensive stat category that they even register. They're 12th in yards per game.
I would
That's the
drop
only
them.
thing they score okay in.
I would drop them out, and I would put the Jaguars in their slot. This
Hmm.
bet the under line. That still means these are very good defenses. Jaguars, Eagles, Cleveland Browns, and the Chargers. Those are all very good defenses. Then you've got competitive defenses on that third line. Then mediocre, hanging by a thread, and get right game. It's pretty funny.
By
So
the way, I wouldn't say the Falcons are mediocre.
yeah,
They've
possibly
really improved.
they
They,
have.
they've come up a lot in a lot of stat categories.
But one of the reasons that I kind of discount the 49ers, I kind of discount the Bears, I kind of discount the Bills, and I kind of discount the Panthers is they're all sitting on that kind of competitive line, and I don't think their defense is good enough to be a championship team.
I
That's
agree.
just the way I look at it.
I'll tell you, I've been trashing the Falcons for 2 seasons for
Yeah, I
picking
think you're right.
Penix. They're second in the NFL in sacks. They
Yeah,
have
that's right.
57 sacks this year. They definitely improved. They're not
Yeah, for
they're
sure.
not 30th in the league in defense anymore. They're better than mediocre. I definitely
Mhm.
put the Falcons defense in competitive. And they still need to build some more. They're not ready to, talk playoffs,
Mhm.
but they've come up a lot. So anyway, back to the playoffs here.
So in terms of total offense, the Cowboys come in first, and they were first the entire season from first week to last week. So it's really interesting that they come in first, and yet their defense was that bad that they couldn't
Yeah.
make the playoffs. Rams are second in total offense. Bears were third. Talk about a shocking turnaround for Caleb Williams and bringing in
Hmm.
this great coach to coach him. Patriots go from a team that last year could barely get a first down to now the fourth best offense. Bills are five, Lions 6, 49ers 7, Seahawks are 8, Broncos 9, and Packers 10. So really interesting. There's only 4 teams in the NFL that are both top 10 offense and top 10 defense. And that's Seattle, Los Angeles, Denver, and the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hmm.
Those are your
I think
four
those are
teams.
the four best teams.
Yeah, I think so too. I think so too. Let's talk about those Green Bay Packers. So their top passing leader, of course, is Jordan Love, although he did miss a number of games. It was pretty amazing. He got 3,300 yards when he missed several starts and had to turn to Malik Willis. They were saying today
He
that
played he played well when he was in there.
he played
Jordan
really
Love
well. Matter
played.
of
He
fact,
had a good season.
I felt like Malik had a better season than Jordan Love did because when he came in, he was 3 and
I've
1,
heard that. I don't agree, but I do
and
think Malik Willis is going to get paid. He's gonna get his shot as a starter.
I think he will too.
He played really
I think he
well.
will. Yeah.
But listen, Jordan Love got third in QBR for the whole league,
No,
73.1.
he had overall a good season, but my
When
point is,
he played well, and he was
that,
hurt some, and that hurt. But I think he's a good, solid quarterback.
what do you think about this team though? They really limped into the playoffs. I mean, they
They
lost
don't
their
look very
last
good.
last four
Yeah, I
games.
think their
Yeah,
defense really slipped a lot
yeah, without Micah. As soon as he went
without
out, they
Micah.
couldn't do anything.
The only stat category they register in defense is they're 12th in yards per game, the
Well,
311.8.
right.
That's not very impressive.
And you look at their points per game at 24.3 and their opponent's 21.5. That's not very impressive either. To have
Hmm.
the offense they have and all the receivers they
Yeah.
have, um,
Now
I
you got to
wasn't
give them a little slack. They're playing in a tough division.
I
I'll say
wasn't
that.
overly
Just
impressed with their offense
me
this
either.
year. Yeah.
People were talking about them for a Super Bowl. I was not buying into that.
I kind of felt
I
that
know,
maybe they were a dark horse.
I know Annie Ager is
Yeah.
agreeing with that, but I'm not feeling that at all.
Yeah. We love Annie Yeager, by the way, but
Yeah,
yeah, we're
she's awesome.
not sure about the Green Bay Packers. What do you think their prospects are here, Robbie?
Uh, very little. They're a deep team. They play a lot of different players, spread the ball around a lot. They've had a lot of injuries this year, and I think it's hard to get in sync when you don't have the same guys out there all the time. And I don't think they're projected to beat the Bears by a point and a half. I think that that's just a function of um, not believing in the Bears defense at all. But I think they're a good team. Their injuries have been crippling, and I think that they're a result of that. And I don't think they get past round one.
I think if they get past any
If
round,
they
it will
beat the
be
Bears, if they beat the Bears, that's the end of the road.
the only way they can beat the Bears is the Bears defense is that trash, and it really is. The Bears
I think
defense
they
has gotten
can beat the
worse.
Bears. I do
Yeah, it's
think they can
possible.
beat the Bears,
It's possible.
but it ends there, and I think it ends there pretty violently. Like,
I
after
agree.
that,
I don't
I
think
don't
they
think
have
it's
much.
pretty after that.
So the pass leader for the 49ers actually is Mac Jones because he filled in for substantial portions of the season, although Brock Purdy's played very well down the stretch. Christian
Yep.
McCaffrey had another unbelievable season. He almost hit the thousand mark for the third time in his career. He just fell short on the receiving side. But, we haven't had a guy like him since Marshall Faulk back in the 2000s. Des Winters is their leading tackler. Of course, it wouldn't have been, but they had a couple major injuries along the way.
Hmm.
I really don't know how they've done as well as they have this year with all the injuries
Good
they've had.
coaching.
It's been incredible.
This was Shanahan's best coaching job by a
It might have
lot,
been. It might have been. You're right.
by a lot.
So they are a top 10 offense. They are not
He's
a top
really
10
in
defense.
sync with Purdy. He
Yeah.
and Purdy are really in sync. They really like Mac Jones as a backup. When Purdy gets hurt, they don't miss much of a beat at all. They just, you know, they they're running the ball. They're dumping it off to McCaffrey. He's having an amazing season. They've got Kittle, Juwan Jennings. They got weapons, and their offensive line has been decent.
Yeah.
With injuries, their backups aren't very good, so that's a problem. But their biggest problem is they're last in the league in sacks. They don't put any pressure on, which leaves their back end exposed. And
They
even
were
though they have good players back there, they're covering too long. That's a problem.
they were saying that the 49ers and Shanahan and his staff will probably get some votes for coaches of the year. And
Yeah, it's a little smoke and mirrors.
Because Salah didn't have much to work with. And he
No,
was
yeah,
keeping them in these games. So
they're
they have
doing they're doing the best they can with very little pressure. You
they
can't
do.
win the Super Bowl if you can't put pressure on your opponent.
That's right. They do score more than the Green Bay Packers do, so they're a little more
Yeah,
explosive. Um, and they have a lot of their big players right now that are healthier than they've been in a long time. So makes them kind of dangerous. Anybody who
they're
plays the
they're
49ers.
really good offensively.
Yeah.
They're number seven in yardage. QBR Purdy's second ranked. McCaffrey's eighth ranked with 1,202 yards. They can just kind of attack you with a balanced offense.
Mhm.
Shanahan's a very good play caller, great offensive mind, and I think that they have a great defensive coach who doesn't have much to work with, but he can get the most out of mediocre players.
Couldn't
So
agree more.
they're a dangerous team, but they're not good enough to go all the way with that defense.
They're flawed. Yeah, we talked about every
I'll
team
tell
has
you
a
what,
flaw, and
if they go
they really
deep in
do.
the playoffs, the coach of the year should be Saleh.
Yeah, it should be Salah. I agree, or at
Yeah.
least defensive coach of the year.
Yeah, like best coordinator of the year should be Saleh.
So
If they
5 weeks ago, the Los Angeles Rams were sitting in the number one seed and did this swoon that I just didn't see coming because I really felt like the whole year they were the best team. And Matthew Stafford had probably his best season by far. Kyron Williams really came on this year. You had Puka Nakua, who, if he's not number one, he's two or three in terms of receivers. Their defense played well
he's
most of the
number
season.
two.
Yeah. And they just played great. You can see they're the number two offensive team in the league. They're also in the top 10 in defense. And yet they had this late season slide that everyone's just kind of scratching their head. They're not really sure what they're going to get from the Rams this year. So what's your thought about this team that we thought was the best team in the league until the last 4 weeks?
Well, it's strange how their defense has been performing. I think they have a lot of good players on defense, so I wouldn't count them out there. I think the Rams have a legitimate shot at righting the ship a little bit.
Hmm.
Offensively, uh, I think Matt Stafford is the MVP of the league.
I do too.
I think
I
he's
do
the
too.
best offensive player in the league. He is number one in touchdowns. He has 46. They are number one in yards per game, 394.6. He is fourth ranked in QBR at 71.
Hmm.
They've got a running game. Kyron Williams is number six with 1,252 yards.
Hmm.
And Puka Nakua is second ranked, 1715, almost
Hmm.
2,000 yards, like on his way
Right.
to. So offensively, they couldn't be sort of more of a problem because you don't know what to stop.
And we talked
And
about Shanahan, the coaching. What about Sean McVay? I mean, he's got to be one of the top five coaches in the NFL by far.
yeah, and their
He
defense,
just-
while it's maligned, they're seventh in sacks with 47, and they are 10th in points at 346 given up. So
Mhm.
they're pretty solid on defense. Um,
Mhm.
it's a weak point, but not tremendously bad. And so I think if they can shore up some things and dial up some good pressure at the right times, um, they're going to outscore you, and you have a problem.
Well, that's the thing is when I look at some of the people they're going to come up against, and some of the teams in their side of the bracket that can't score as much as the Rams, are they just going to outscore people? It's very possible.
Yeah. Like for
They're
instance,
so explosive.
would it shock you to have them beat Seattle? It wouldn't shock me at all.
No, no, it wouldn't shock me. No,
If I
absolutely
had
not.
to put a dollar down on it, I'd say Seattle, but the Rams are good enough to beat Seattle.
Hmm.
So, especially if they get a little pressure on Darnold, that could go
Although in the
sideways.
although in the last month they've been whipped by Seattle,
Yeah.
and then Seattle whipped the 49ers. So the Seattle's really
Yep.
rounded into shape. If you talk about
Yeah,
being hot.
some teams
Yeah.
are going in hot and some teams are going in not. And
Yeah.
I'd always like the hot teams a little better, but
Hmm.
I tend to like the teams that can play offense and defense as opposed to one-sided football because they complement each other and you never know where the big play is going to come from.
Right. And we
Could be
saw
a
there
big
was a big.
interception.
By the,
It could
by the
be
way,
a good
did they?
special team play. It could be a huge play on offense.
By the way, did they really want the number one seed? Because you saw what happened in the college football playoff, and it's happened in the pros too, where you get this 1 week layoff and you come back and you're totally flat and you are really stale, and
Yeah, it's a
you end up getting knocked off.
little
But
different in the pros.
yeah,
In college, they had a month off. I think that's an
yeah,
outrageous amount of time,
yeah.
and that's why all those teams were losing, except for Kurt Signetti's team.
Mhm,
Basically, in the pros, that extra week kind of does help. It's a long season. 17 weeks is a long way. A lot
mhm,
of lot of injuries. Everyone's playing hurt. It's nice to be fresh, and I don't think two
mhm.
weeks, 1 week off in between is enough time to get super, super rusty. So for me, I want the bye week. I don't think you face the exact same problem that happens in college where, hey, you got a bye month. Like that's too long.
Well,
It's like you get completely
I
out of
agree.
practice.
I will say the Rams are one of the four teams, like we said before, that have a top 10 offense and top 10 defense. They have
Yep.
one of the best coaches and they have the MVP quarterback. So even though they have limped into these playoffs and they've not been playing well, we all agree with that. There's no reason they can't turn this around and scheme their way to a victory. So we shall see. So the number four seed in the NFC is my Carolina Panthers. Obviously ecstatic that they backed their way into the playoffs. They were sitting at 8-7 and lost two very tight games that really they should have won at least one of those two games. They're sitting right now at offensive rank 18 and defensive rank 12. Bryce Young with under 3,000 yards passing. He has by far the lowest amount of passing of all the starting quarterbacks. Rico Dowdle had an unbelievable kind of career-changing year for him. And behind him is Chuba Hubbard, who had that great year last year. And then Ted McMillan goes over 1,000 yards in his rookie season,
Yeah, he
and
was
a lot of
fantastic.
people think he's going to be the offensive rookie of the year.
Yep.
Rosebloom is your top tackler, and then of course J.C. Horn had a Pro Bowl season as well. So, what is your take on the Panthers? What chance do they have to maybe win a game or two?
I like some of the pieces that they've added on defense. They got Derek Brown healthy, and I think he's one of the best defensive tackles in football. I love Teteroa McMillan. I think he is
Mm-hmm.
the rookie of the year, offensive rookie of
Mm-hmm.
the year. Coker's a nice piece. Xavier Legette is a nice piece. Rico Dowdle
Mm-hmm.
had an amazing running game, running year. I think Chuba Hubbard handled it as a professional, allowing
Mm-hmm.
Dowdle to really take over and take his position. I'm sure that
Mm-hmm.
was frustrating, but Chuba Hubbard was all about the team. And I think Bryce Young came a long way, improved himself into being the solid starter, no question about whether he belongs out there or not. Um, and J.C. Horn being healthy all year pretty much has been incredibly helpful. So I think they've improved in all the areas. I think a couple more drafts and they could really
And
expect to be in the playoffs every year. But
they're they're the rare team this year that had two corners that were playing at a Pro Bowl level. Mike Jackson was really a
yeah,
nice surprise. He really was
it
playing
was.
well.
It was.
So,
At the
and
end
I
of the day, I
noticed.
think you and I predicted at the beginning of the season that they'd be borderline right around the playoffs, either just in or just out. And I think that's right. I think
Yeah.
they're just in. They
Hmm.
backed in. They belong there, but just barely. And they might be able to squeak out a win, but I really doubt it against the Rams. That's just not likely.
If you look
Um,
at how they did it against the Rams last time, they did it through running the ball. Rico Dowdle had a huge day. They had 230 yards rushing as a team, and
there
they
were
got
turnovers.
two turnovers that were really critical
Yeah,
in the second
that was
half.
huge.
So, yeah, that's the only way you're going to beat a better team.
Those turnover, I agree. You got to do something special in terms of getting a turnover at a particular time when the Rams were driving and getting
Hmm.
points, and that's sort of a double whammy where you're ending up getting um, reverse points. You're taking away from them and going and scoring. If you can have those kind of momentum swings, you can get some momentum and maintain it. Then you're running the ball down their throat, and if they can't stop that, you can walk out of there a winner, even though you're not the better team.
And don't you agree what we talked about earlier? Obviously, it would hurt my team, which is the Panthers, but that they really should be the 7 seed. Green Bay should be the 6 seed, and
Yeah,
Carolina should be going on the road to the 2 seed. I think that's what it
no
should be.
question.
Yeah,
No question. The seating's a little off here, but it's not dramatic. It's not terrible.
they're just
Um,
trying to reward winning your division, which I understand.
yeah.
Um,
It could be a
anyway,
pretty cold game though. Like
it could be.
you know,
It could be. It's going to be in Bank of
there's
America
there's a
Stadium.
there's a bit of a warm spell coming through the Carolinas right now, but it's gonna get cold back again. So
I know a
um
lot of people that will be at the game, and they're very excited about it. I think the city will be completely geeked up, and we'll see
yeah.
if they can keep it close, or maybe if they have a touchdown lead at halftime, then you start going, well, maybe,
Well, all I know is I'll be watching from Raleigh.
Raleigh. I love it. The
If you
number
haven't
three
seen that
seed,
out there, go check it out. Who is it? Ocho Cinco and who is he on the podcast with?
um, what is his name?
Shannon
It's
Sharp. Hmm.
Shannon Sharp. Yeah,
Yeah, Ocho Cinco said he's
yeah,
been to Charlotte twice and he's also been to Raleigh.
Raleigh.
That's funny.
So this is
Anyway,
interesting to
carry on.
see the Eagles, number 3 seed. They won their division, and yet they really ranked pretty low on offense and defense. Um, and so I don't remember a time where we had a Super Bowl champ come in their next season and defending their title, and they're sitting at the offensive rank of 20. Largely because, as we saw, much of the year they really struggled, and they were pulling games out with special teams, they were pulling out with block punts. They were playing good defense. They really didn't run the ball like they did last year, although Saquon did go over 1,000 yards. But A.J. Brown was frustrated much of the year. What are your thoughts on the shape of the Eagles as they enter this tournament? And are they too low ranked offensively and defensively to make any noise.
I'm one of the few who thinks that they're a very dangerous team in this playoffs. I haven't heard anybody talking about their positives. I'm not an Eagles fan, and I have no allegiance to them whatsoever. But I do believe that their offense is able to dominate physically. Um, they got Lane Johnson coming back. They are they have a lot of weapons on offense. I don't like that they started the season with AJ Brown complaining a lot about not getting the ball, and that kind of threw
Mm-hmm.
him off balance a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm telling you, if you get Saquon Barkley going, the offensive line still is pretty awesome. Um, and they have good weapons at
And
wide
nobody
receiver
talks
and
about
tight
Goddard,
end.
but Goddard is he's a killer
Goddard's
across the board.
awesome. The wide receivers are awesome. I'm not a big Hurts fan, but then look defensively. I mean, they are bend but don't break. They're fifth in points allowed.
Right, it is
Uh,
true.
they don't give up a lot of touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
So, if they keep it close and they get going, one of my favorite players in the league to watch is Zach Bond. He is
Mm-hmm.
he's an absolute maniac
And Cooper DeJean.
linebacker.
Cooper DeJean
And
he
Cooper
has a nose
DeJean,
for the ball.
yeah,
Yeah.
they
Mm-hmm.
have a bunch of really good athletic players on defense.
Mm-hmm.
They've got beasts. I mean, Jalen Carter's about as mean. He reminds me of Ndamukong Suh. He just has a mean disposition.
Yeah.
I don't think until they get knocked out, they're the Super Bowl champions, and I don't think we should take them lightly. I
But at
know
the
a
same
lot of
time, we have
people have just turned the page on them and think that they're completely done. I don't know. They're
at the
not going
same
to win it
time
all, I don't think. But man, I don't. I think they're going to win a couple games.
at the same time, if you look at their schedule and you look at the teams they actually beat, they were not playoff or very good teams. And
I
so
know.
we have a 17 game sample size. And so what everyone who's pro Eagles here is saying, don't believe your lion eyes, don't believe what you saw in the 17 games, and just assume this Super Bowl champion defending team is going to be what they were last year. I guess we're going to find out. It's hard to
Yeah.
believe it when you saw the way they played this year, but
Ertz had
anyway,
25 touchdowns. He's ranked ninth, and
they
Barkley was 10th with 1,140. Their
they
offense
feel.
wasn't great, but it was good. It wasn't bad.
I mean, they were 20th in the league in offense. But to me, they are the Denver Broncos of the NFC. That's what they are. The Denver Broncos find ways to win, and the Eagles find ways to win. They just do it. It's not pretty. It's often ugly. It's often like
Yeah,
a really close, low scoring
but
17-14 type game.
but they have rings, and they've been
That's
there, and
true.
they
That's
they know
true.
how to do it. So I just don't think you can dismiss a team like that until you take them out.
Till they get knocked off. Yeah, I agree.
Somebody's going to knock them out, but I until they get knocked out, you don't want to square up against them. I don't think.
I
Do
agree.
you really want to line up against Jalen Carter?
Not really.
I mean, he's
And I
just
agree with you
mean. Like
about. Does it feel like maybe they were kind of semi-resting Saquon this year for the playoff run? It just
maybe,
feels like they didn't push him that hard.
yeah, like they were afraid of some kind of lower leg injury. You don't
He's
want to
almost
have a,
fresh,
yeah, kind of.
almost fresh. So
He's ready. I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
They're not going to roll through people, but they might be really obstinate and really a
Yeah,
problem.
they may be. They may be. We'll see. Number two seed, the Chicago Bears. Caleb Williams with his breakout season has a really nice season. They also can run the ball really well with DeAndre Smith and some of their other backs. DJ Moore, really solid season. Edmonds, Kevin Beard is the interception
Yes,
leader. One thing about Chicago, their defense is not highly ranked and it's actually pretty trash.
it's
But
terrible. It's
but
terrible.
they also are ball hawks. They do create a lot of turnovers, and
They get some
that's not
turnovers, but they give up
yeah.
big plays. They give up a lot of points.
Their points per
DeAndre
game.
Swift is an underrated back. He's a
Mhm.
very solid addition for them. He's a weapon. They have nice weapons on offense. Adunze is healthy, and Caleb Williams had a nice year. He's let's see, he was sixth in ranking with 27 touchdowns,
Mhm.
and they were sixth in 369.2 yards per game. So
Mhm.
offensively, they could really move the ball. Caleb had a lot of nice plays this year. He made a lot of nice plays. But at the end of the day, he was ranked pretty low in a lot of categories. And if you could shut down their running game, sometimes you had some good luck against
It's
them.
true. It's true.
So, and their
I do
defense
notice
was
that
atrocious.
in a lot of their games they win. They have the Buffalo Bills problem. They get far behind and they have to do big comebacks.
Yep.
And Caleb Williams, to give him credit, he was really excellent in the fourth quarter this year, and he pulled a lot of games out that maybe they shouldn't have won. And so
Right.
I wonder if that burns you in the playoffs. I'm worried about that for the Bills. I'm worried about that for the Bears because they get themselves down 2 or 3 touchdowns in the first half. It's going to be really hard to come back, especially since it'll be in Chicago, really cold and probably snowing. It's going to be really hard to come back in that situation. So
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it probably is gonna be bad weather.
they are the
So we'll
number
see.
3 offense. So they really rolled up the yards and points this year. So they're really
Hmm.
explosive offensively. But they're also like the 30th defense. So they're like the really weird dichotomy where they're, one of the top 3 teams offensively and one of the bottom 3 teams defensively. So I don't know if
Super
that's
imbalanced team. They're not
yeah,
gonna have good complementary football.
right. I will say I love Ben Johnson. What a great hire that was. I mean, the biggest
Yep.
difference between this year and last year, where they were, 6-11 last year. This year they're the number 2 seed. And I give most of it to the progression of Williams and Ben Johnson.
I think you give a lot of credit to Caleb Williams to be mature
Mhm.
enough to
Yeah.
realize that how immature he was.
Hmm.
And to say, I'm going to listen to my coach. I'm going to learn from him. I'm going to work on all those areas that I was holding the ball too long and running around in circles. And um, a lot of the criticisms, sort of, he was mature enough to take it in and improve on. So
It's
good for
interesting.
him.
It's
And
interesting, Robbie.
he was a good match with McDonald for sure.
I looked at our preseason show and I just wanted to see what our take was on a lot of these teams. And you and I both picked the Bears to come in fourth in that division.
Hmm.
But but we also had them winning more games than last year. We did think they would come along with Ben
Yeah.
Johnson and Caleb would take a step. But we just
Yep.
felt like that division was too tough.
I
And
had no idea Minnesota was going to lose that many games, and I had no idea Detroit was going to have that level of injuries again. I thought
right,
when you have injuries like last year, you tend to be a little healthier the next year, and somehow they followed it up with just as bad or worse a situation. So,
how crazy is it
um,
that Detroit comes in as the 6th offense and didn't make the playoffs?
yeah,
That tells you a little bit about their defense.
I
So,
think Detroit's one of the best teams in the league, and it's just really strange the way they folded a few times. It
yeah,
really gave way.
that's right. So the number 1 seed and the only team that has a bye in the first weekend. We talked about that debate about whether it's good to have a bye or not good to have a bye. I think older teams like it and younger teams want to play. But this is the Seattle Seahawks. This is a team that really has been rolling the whole year, but really picked up steam about 5 weeks ago. They've really been hot. And
Hmm.
Sam Darnold's played just as well as he did in Minnesota last year, leading them to a 14-3 record. They have a really nice 2-headed monster at running back with Walker and Charbonnet. They have the best receiver in football in Smith and Jigba.
Hmm.
And they have just a gang tackling, ball hawking defense that it's really exciting to watch. I mean, whether you want to call them Legion of Boom, you can call them whatever you want. But they just, you saw what Purdy had to deal with. He could barely get the ball off on almost every play. So they have the kind of defense that every team wishes they had. So, what's your take on the Seahawks?
So the Seahawks, the special part of their team is Smith and Jigba and their defense. Those are the
Mhm.
two standout areas where they excel. A good coach is going to take that and really hammer on defense and try to run enough to free up in Jigba. Defensively, they are eighth in sacks, sixth in yardage given up, but they're number one in points. They only gave up 292 points, so they bend but
Mhm.
don't break. They're really strong in holding teams in the red zone. Um,
Mhm.
Rushing yardage, they're number three at giving up the fewest rushing yardage. They average 91.9 yards per game,
Mhm.
and they're number one in points per game, 17.2. So defensively, they're off the charts. They throw waves of people at you. They don't rely on some star defensive end that's going to get a bunch of sacks. They just twist and stunt, and they bring the
And
house, and they have quality backups. They have a lot of depth, and they just defensively they throw waves of people at you, and it's
and not
really tough.
and not only do they tackle better than anybody I've seen this year, but they hit so freaking hard. I mean, it's almost
Yeah.
bone rattling to watch the way
It's
they
not
hit
just
people.
hard, but
Yeah,
they're great tacklers. They put
yeah.
people down on the ground right where they are. And
Hmm.
that's really a very, very important fundamental skill that's been lost by a lot of teams.
What do you think that?
Offensively, Smith and Jigba is literally number one, 1,793 yards. In yardage, they're eighth. So they have a solid offense, moving the ball, 351 yards, point 0.4 yards per game. And Darnold is ninth in quarterback touchdowns. So, he's having a very nice season. Smith and Jigma is a huge reason why. And their running game is okay. It's a very good running game with the two-headed monster. They don't have stars at the back position. You wouldn't want to invest, huge salaries there, but they are very good running backs and they're very productive. They're good for blocking and helping Darnold stay clean. But the star of the show is Njigba and their defense.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now, one thing that they have done that the Minnesota Vikings didn't do last year is they're asking Sam Darnold to do less. And very similar to what we've seen with Carson Beck and Miami Hurricanes, Darnold,
Mhm.
his picks have gone way down. His efficiency and his QBR have gone way up. And he's just handing the ball off a lot. And then the play action actually works. So when he does do play action, Smith and Jigba's, roaming free somewhere in the secondary. So they just have a really nice scheme right now. I really like McDonald as a coach and his
Well,
entire
they're
staff.
hot. They're hot. Their coaching is really resonating in the locker room. It's
Hmm.
it's full team buy-in. They're going into the playoffs on fire. They are physically intimidating. They have an incredible home field advantage. Like that's one of
Hmm.
the hardest places to play in football.
Well, and what you just said
Darnold,
is really important to mention, Robbie. You just mentioned home field advantage because the
yeah,
entire NFC side of the playoffs goes through Seattle. So
correct.
it's a
And
big
it's a
advantage.
terrible place to play. It's loud. The fans go bananas. And they've always played tough there, and they have an attitude. The Legion of Boom is not something that went away entirely. The mindset's still there now with a whole new set of characters
Hmm.
carrying it out. And I'm just so impressed with the wave of defenders that they throw at you. There's no one injury that's going to take them down like the Niners. You know, you lose Warner and you lose Bosa, and you're just a totally different team on defense. They don't have that. They'll just throw different people at you and have the same nuisance effect. Their
They're
defense is solid.
they're incredibly impressive, and I think
They're physical. They beat the crap out of you.
they're the most complete team in the NFL, and they're the most complete team on the NFC side. And so I think they're the prohibitive favorites to go to the Super Bowl. Whether they'll win it or not, I don't know, but I think there's no question they're the favorites out of the NFC. So looking at the AFC side, the Los Angeles Chargers, the number 7 seed, they also kind of backed into the playoffs. I don't think anybody other than the 49ers had more injuries this year, losing both of their starting tackles. They ended up with all five starting offensive linemen not playing at the end of the season. So they had a completely new line. They
That
did
was
have a
brutal.
couple nice surprises this year with this kid Vidal when they had a lot of their backup running backs and starting running backs hurt. McConkey had a nice year, and they just kind of scraped together a decent season on the offensive side as best they could with Justin Herbert. You can see their points per game was down compared to a lot of the other contenders, 22.8. And again, they just, in my opinion, did about the most they could do with the limited cards they had to work with. On defense, they're very solid. They're one of the better defenses in the AFC by far, and it
Yes.
keeps them in every game. But what are your thoughts about the prospects for the Chargers as they come in with a very incomplete roster?
I think if it weren't for their offensive line, I think that they would be one of the top five favorites. Um, Love Herbert as always. He's so tall and solid and strong, good decisions, athletic. He's a problem. I like how they have multiple running backs. They had Vidal carry the ball
Hmm.
when some of their other running backs went down. Um,
Hmm.
Lad McConkey is a good one, and I think that defensively they're very sound. They're 11th in sacks. They have 45 yardage. They're fifth overall in defense that they give up in yardage, 285 per game. They're
Hmm.
ninth in points, and they've given up 340, and in rushing yards given up, they're number 8. So defensively, they're not the very top, but they're very good. They're very stout and solid. They're not going to let you beat them in a whole bunch of ways.
What's
Uh,
interesting, Robbie, is there's two teams that have top 10 defenses that don't have top 10 offenses in the playoffs. And one is the Chargers and the other is the Houston Texans.
mhm.
And so that's their problem is even though they have this, all
Offense.
world quarterback, they can't get it done on the offensive side. They can't score enough points and be
Yeah.
explosive enough to compete with some of the best teams.
Well, I think Omari and Hampton being back, they can rotate with Vidal.
Hmm.
That'll
Hmm.
help them move the ball. I don't like that their two best linemen are down. That's brutal, actually. I wouldn't wish that on any team.
Hmm.
Because those are really their stars. Harbaugh has said that offensive linemen can be weapons too, and that's why they took Joe Alt. And to go into the playoffs without him is really, really sad to watch for them. But
Do you think Jim
um,
Harbaugh, being one of the better coaches in football, he's in his second season here, can he make up some of the difference that this team has
yes,
short?
when you're a culture builder, what you do is you get the focus away from one or two stars and more about the whole team as a star. And that's what culture builders do. As next man up is not just something that you throw out there as a platitude, but it's a reality. I
Hmm.
think he kind of reminds me of um, the guy for the Patriots, um,
Vrabel.
Vrabel. Uh, it- it- he just he's got like a mindset of we'll play with whoever we got,
Hmm.
and we'll do the best we can. And we'll fight hard, and we'll be a nightmare for you all day long.
They do feel like
Um,
a lunch pail team, don't they? They
Lunch
feel like
pail, yeah.
yeah,
Not finesse. I think of Chargers as finesse, and I look at this team and I think these are workers.
they are.
They're they're going to sacrifice for the greater good. They're going to not worry about personal stats. You're not going to hear them complaining about I didn't get the ball enough and stuff like that. You're not going to hear that out of the kind of culture that Harbaugh builds. Um, he
You're
loves his
saying
players.
you're saying Jim Harbaugh would not have an AJ Brown situation.
He
Is this
wouldn't
what?
have an AJ Brown on his
Yeah,
team. And if
yeah,
he did, he'd behave differently. So,
right.
you know, um, he wants guys that want to win as a team, and he wants
Yeah,
guys that don't mind being in the spotlight sometimes and not in the spotlight other times.
that's right.
So I think they're a solid playoff team. I don't think they're going to make too much noise, but this is one of the more interesting matchups. The Patriots and the Chargers. I think they're similar styles. It's really sad that the Chargers can't play with their two offensive linemen. I know everybody has injuries this time of year, but man, that's a huge loss for this
They
team.
feel they feel a little bit like the Green Bay Packers had this great start, have a really good team, kept losing players, losing key players, and eventually kind of backed into the playoffs the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
That's the Packers, and so I feel like the Packers and the Chargers, although yes, playoff teams, if the season had been a little bit longer, they probably wouldn't have made it because they just were fading. So,
Yeah.
solid team, they'll put up a fight.
Yep.
Coached well. Next
You catch
team
them
is
on the
the
wrong day, they could beat you.
next team is the number 6 seed, the Buffalo Bills. They're actually the number 5 total offense, which is pretty wild. Their defense is absolute trash. Allen had a really
Yep.
solid season following up to his MVP year last year. James Cook has evolved into one of the top 3 backs in football by far. He's really fantastic. They had Shakir and a couple other receivers. They're not barn burners, but they got a little bit better as the year went on. And they did have this kid, Cole Bishop, who was a real nice surprise for them, both leading in tackles and in interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, Buffalo loses because their defense gets gashed. A lot of people picking them as a sexy dark horse type team that might come out of nowhere because Josh Allen is so good. What is your thought about the Bills? What's their prospects?
It comes down to James Cook. It comes down to James Cook. Can he run the ball effectively and a lot of times to wear down the defense, to wear down the Jags. The Jags have the number one rushing defense in the NFL, and uh, James Cook is the number one ranked running back. So something's got to give there, right? If the Bills can pound Cook and he's able to break through and get first down after first down after first down and keep the Jags defense out there on long drives and
Mm-hmm.
give Lawrence very few possessions, the Bills can
And
win that game.
and maybe Josh Allen picks up 3 or 4 first downs with his legs, and maybe scores a
Yep.
touchdown.
And
Yeah.
occasionally he does a run for first down, doesn't take big shots, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe even scores inside the 5. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I still think James Cook is the one who needs to be the star. And
Yeah.
I think Allen can complement that. He's a great QB. But if
Mm-hmm.
it comes down to just Allen and they have to throw nonstop and go away from Cook, they're not
I
going to win
agree.
that game.
I agree. If they're one dimensional, it's over. 100%.
Yep, yep.
So
Because
one
their
thing
defense will
that's
be back on the field too many times. They'll get exposed. It'll be a high scoring game. The Bills will start forcing the ball. Um, it, it that's the formula to lose.
one really interesting thing, Robbie, is the Bills had won 6 straight AFC East championships,
Hmm.
division championships, and this is the first year in a long time they come in as a wild card team, and they essentially have to go on the road the length of the playoffs, which is very tough. So, what is your thought about how does that affect them not playing in Buffalo in the snow like they're used to in this time of year?
I think that they rely on the bad weather. I don't think they do as well when they're on the road. Um, yeah, I think they're not going to enjoy playing in the relatively warm Jaguars stadium. But
Mm-hmm.
I will say their offense can win this thing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
they are fourth in yardage. Josh Allen was ninth in 25, with 25 touchdowns. He's seventh in QBR at
Mm-hmm.
64.7, and they have the number one running back. So it's it's right there for their offense to get it done, to keep their defense off the field, to
Mm-hmm.
dominate the Jags on defense, with running the ball. And I
And
think
they can't allow those explosive plays by Trevor Lawrence. I think if they
yeah,
do, the game's going to be over because once he gets those going.
I'll tell you, I love the Jaguars offensive line this year.
Yep.
They are fantastic overall. They're 11th in yardage. Trevor Lawrence is fifth in touchdowns, 29.
Yep.
And defensively, they're number 11 in yardage and eighth in points given up, and fourth, no, first against the run. Sorry, against the run,
Right.
they give up the least amount of yardage. So
And by the
what
way,
they're
the
going to
Jags can
do is
really.
they're going to try to force the Bills into throwing nonstop by
Mhm.
being stout and stacking the line. And if that happens, I think they win the game.
And then they're going to run the ball on the Bills because they can.
Yep,
The Bills can't stop the run. They
that's
can't.
right.
They're one of the worst in the league this year.
That's right.
So
And
you'll see a lot.
I was shocked when I looked. I can find it in a second, but uh, the running game for the Jaguars was much better than I thought this year.
It is. It's very good.
Mm. Yeah.
I still think because of
ETN had a great season.
Josh Allen and James Cook, they're a dangerous team. I don't know if they can get it done in round one, but they're a dangerous team. Nobody really wants to play them,
I
but
agree.
they give up a lot of yards and a lot of points. Next team is the AFC number 5 seed. That's the Houston Texans. If they weren't the hottest team, they were the second hottest team at the end of the year, and their defense really turned it up. They were unbelievable at the end of the year. Their offensive rank is 21. Their defensive rank is 1. So you have a real problem here. You have a team that is playing at a championship level defensively, but is not offensively. Their passing leader, of course, is C.J. Stroud. He did miss a little bit of time this year. Davis Mills had to come in a couple of times, but overall he had a
Hmm.
pretty good year. And then Nico Collins is just an all-pro wide receiver, has been for a couple of years. He had another really nice season. What's your take on the Houston Texans, the way they finished the season, and then what are their prospects?
They remind me a lot of Seattle. They remind me a lot of Seattle. Their defensive numbers are off the chart in all these different categories. And instead of Smith and Jigba, substitute Nico Collins.
Mhm.
Quarterbacks are solid and decent. Um, Running games are okay, solid, nothing too
I mean,
flashy.
clearly the Seahawks are better than the Texans offensively. I mean, you would agree with that.
Yes, but not by much. I
Yeah.
would agree, but not by much. I think they're comparable teams. I think that I mean the Texans have Nick Chubb, you know.
Hmm.
I think they've been saving him, to be honest.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so but defensively, they're number 9 in sacks with 47. They're number 1 in yards given up. They're number 2 in points given up. They're number 2 in points per game. So that's 295 total points given up, 17.4 per game. 17.4 per game, you're going to win a lot of games. You're going to win a lot of games 24 to 17. You know, like, um, and then they're number 4 against the rush. So they can stop you in all ways on defense.
Hmm.
And their offense is solid and okay. Nico Collins
Right.
is ninth with 1,117 yards. And their quarterback play has been a little disrupted
What
because of CJ Stroud getting hurt. I think Woody Marks getting hurt also hurt them. But everyone's healthy now and they're ready for the playoff run. I think they're a scary team.
you can
They're
see,
Yeah.
they only give up 16.6 points per game, so they are scary just from the standpoint of they just don't give you a lot of yards or points. And one thing I noticed about their offense, Robbie, although it's not ranked very high, is they don't make mistakes. They really take care of the ball, and their coach really preaches that. And they try to
Mhm.
play complementary football with this number one defense. So the
And
way
all I
they're
know
going to
is, do you want to try and tackle Nick Chubb?
no, and do you want to try to block Will Anderson?
No,
Oh my goodness,
I know.
some of those defenders they have are just
They're a terrifying
off the
defense,
charts. Yeah,
and their offense is good enough. So
yeah. They
they're a
could
good
make some
team.
noise, man. They're the number five seed. They can make some noise the way they're playing right now.
Well, they're gonna beat up on the Steelers,
Hmm.
and then anything can happen from there.
That's right. 100%. Speaking of those Steelers, they're the number four seed. They really back into the playoffs by having their opponent, the Ravens, miss a field goal with Tyler Loop. Did play pretty darn well this season. I think no one really believed Aaron Rodgers could get this kind of season out of his aching body, but he did. Ended up with 3,322 yards. DK Metcalf had a pretty decent season. And one
Hmm.
thing the Steelers did a little better this year is they ran the ball a little better, which was nice to see.
Yep,
Peyton Wilson, our NC State boy, was their leading tackler, which I thought was really
he's
cool.
awesome. Yeah.
They barely had more points per game than they gave up, so that's why they had that kind of very, middle of the road 500 record and barely won their division. They are 15th offensively and 16th defensively, so they're just kind of an average team. Feel a
Yep.
lot like the Carolina Panthers in that way.
Exactly. They're a lot like the Panthers.
So take on the Steelers.
Take on the Steelers. I mean, I think you kind of nailed it. They're real mediocre in both sides of the ball. They've got some stars. I mean, DK Metcalf's a real problem. I think they kind of fizzled the last couple of games because DK Metcalf was out and they didn't have their normal attack. Jalen Warren had a nice year. Aaron Rodgers played well overall. They got a little
We did.
creative on offense occasionally, so
It was better than normal for sure.
that was something.
On offense.
And defensively, their defense is mediocre, but they were pretty good at sacks. They were
Yeah.
decent at putting pressure.
Well, they have
They
T.J.
were
Watt.
they were
So yeah.
sixth. You know, they had
Yeah.
48 sacks. So they were able to create pressure, which throws offenses out of their rhythm, which is what defenses are trying to do, is make offenses get out of sync. If an offense is just marching down the field in rhythm, That's the scariest thing for a defense because they can't stop it.
You know,
So
TJ Watt missed 6 games. I wonder if their
yeah,
defensive rank would have been substantially higher if he had played all 17. I
probably would
wonder.
have helped for sure. Yeah.
And then what do you think of Peyton Wilson, man? Are you proud of him? How he's playing for
Oh
the
yeah.
Steelers? He's all over the field.
Very intense player. He reminds me of Luke Kuechly.
You loved it when they
His
drafted
in the
him.
mindset. Oh yeah. He was a great pickup.
Yeah.
They didn't give up very much to get him. He's a hard
Hmm.
worker, lunch pail guy. Real nice in
Hmm.
person. I met him I talked to him at school a couple of times, little conversations.
Hmm.
Very respectful, very nice guy. But you could
Hmm.
tell, looking in his eyes, there was something savage behind him. Like
You think he's
he's
kind of like a Kuechly type? I mean, can he be that good?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think if you talk to the
Sideline to sideline.
players that play with him, they could see a little switch flip when he puts his helmet on.
I sent you that
Um,
clip this week, Robbie, of some of Luke Kuechly's best highlights, and I had forgotten how fast that guy was. He's as fast as a running back. He's
yeah,
unbelievable
yeah.
coming
Peyton
through the
Wilson
hole.
got a lot of that. Peyton
He
Wilson's
does.
very
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah.
He's very fast. He gets a lot of picks. He's always flying around and hitting people.
So
Um,
they back into the playoffs, Robbie.
this defense is better than a 16th ranking, I think, but
You
I
think
do
so?
think that they have a few holes. Like I
Yeah.
think that they've got some
Yeah.
issues, and then offensively, I think they're not very good. So
You think they're one and done, correct?
they're one and done. I think they're one of the weakest teams in the playoffs.
Me too. I agree. 3 seed is your Jacksonville Jaguars. You called it before the season. You said you
I
thought they'd
did.
be one of the most improved, and
They were my sleeper.
you said they were going to make the playoffs, and you said they were going to be vying for that division title. They get all of it done. What was interesting is they started the season 4-3 and just kind of mediocre, and they lost a couple of really bad ones. And
Hmm.
so at that time, you stick with them, but most people gave up on them and said they're just the same old Jaguars, just average. You know, Trevor Lawrence will never amount to anything. And then the second half of the season, they go on this run that no one saw coming except for you. And they just ended the season one of the hottest teams, and nobody wants to play them. And they
Right.
got Lawrence playing at a Pro Bowl level. They got Travis Etienne having his best season by far.
Yeah.
They had, of course,
He's
Brian
the
Thomas Jr.
11th ranked running back, ATN.
They had Brian Thomas Jr., the offensive rookie of the year last year, coming back, but then he got outshone by this Parker Washington guy.
Parker Washington. Yeah.
Who was incredible. And then their defense is just flying all over the field, creating a lot of
Well,
havoc.
the defense starts with stopping the run. They're very good against the run. So what they
Yeah.
do is they force you into throwing the ball and they get you out of your out of sync. They get you out of your rhythm. So it's very much a hot team that's got good players. They're well coached. I mean, Liam Cohen, probably coach of the year.
You think
Trevor
he's going to
Lawrence
get it?
is
I think
playing
he
well.
might.
He
I think
should.
he might.
He
Yeah.
should. He's doing amazing. Uh,
Hmm.
their their offensive line is doing amazing. I watched breakdowns of their offensive line play. The way they block, the way they do all kinds of cadence stuff. They make you guess when they're going to be snapping the ball. There's a lot of um, good blocking schemes, and on top of that, Trevor Lawrence, they do a lot of tricky stuff with when they're going to snap the ball. And then Trevor Lawrence, on top of that, not only does the defense playing against Jacksonville lose like a good half second to a second without engaging the line
Hmm.
because they're not ready sometimes when the snap comes. But then on top of that, Lawrence is good at evading and doing scramble drill, especially with Parker Washington. So
Hmm.
they're fine when they're under an immense amount of pressure. Lawrence is going to hit Parker Washington if he's given 5 6 seconds when he's running around. And so they're a problem. I mean
I told
they're
you
a good team.
I told you I picked up Parker Washington midway through our fantasy season, and he actually carried me to the playoffs in our league this year because he was so
Yeah.
good. So he really was a nice find. But thoughts about Trevor Lawrence? Can he get it done in the playoffs?
Yes, because that offensive line, they're able to run the ball. The wide receiving core is very good, and the light has gone on for him this year.
Hmm. It seems
He's a
like it.
tall, big quarterback who can run. There's not that much pressure on him because he's been there long enough now, and expectations were low. He's surrounded by good players now and a great coaching system. That coach has ironed out a lot of the bad throws and taught him how to think and how to go through his progressions. And the Jags are one of the most dangerous teams in the NFL.
I agree. Nobody wants to play them right now.
No, because
We'll
they're
see.
hot and good.
I would vote for Cohen as coach of the year, and then my second vote would be for Kyle Shanahan. I think what he and Salah have done with that
Yeah.
roster that has been just decimated all year, it's been pretty
Yeah.
incredible. My third would probably be Jim Harbaugh. I think he had the same challenge. They
I don't know.
depleted.
It's Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle. Yeah, yeah, McDonald. Number
McDonald's
two
is,
seed is the New England Patriots. We thought Vrabel would be good. We thought he would improve that team. We didn't know he would do this to them. I mean, Drake May has one of the all-time seasons. He would definitely be the MVP if it weren't for Matt Stafford. He gets 4,203 yards in his second season.
yeah.
He already looks like an MVP level quarterback. Trevion Henderson, we knew was going to be good in preseason, and man, he really came on second half of the year. Steph Diggs, really nice season. Their defense played really solid.
Mhm.
You see, they finished number 4 offensively, so they're really explosive offensively, which we haven't seen in a while for the Patriots. And then they have a really good defense too. So they're the number 2 seed. What's your thought on their prospects?
They're a very solid team. They're well coached. They don't have a lot of egos. And Drake May was a wonderful surprise. Although we were saying back then, he's a perfect example of a quarterback who didn't have a great senior year in college.
Right.
But quarterbacks don't forget how to play. So when your team kind of lets you down a little and you go downward, same with what's his name from the Chargers? Herbert, same thing. Sort of a bad senior year, slipped in the draft, shouldn't have. Drake May's been awesome. There's no other way to say it. They're third in yards per game. He is third in touchdowns with 31, and he is number one in QBR. He's the number one ranked QBR rated quarterback. And then
What an incredible
defensively, they're
season.
solid. They're eighth in yards, fourth in points given up, and sixth in rushing yards. So they're good
They
in
don't make a lot of
all these.
mistakes. They're just
They don't.
solid. They're sound.
They don't.
Yeah.
They don't give up a lot of big plays. They rank well on both sides of the ball, and they've got a bit of a. They've got a players coach who gets them fired up, and they love playing for him.
Do you think he's more of a culture builder, or is he more of an X's and O's guy? I think he's more of a
No
culture
question,
builder.
he's a culture builder. No
Yeah.
question.
And did you think he could
He's
turn?
like Dan Campbell.
You think he could do it in one season like that? I mean, we talked about him being good, but I didn't think he could do
Yeah,
this in one season.
yeah. I thought it was insane that the Titans got rid of him
Yeah.
because he hadn't been there too long. They needed to get rid of to get a new voice in there. I mean, I thought his team just they were so dumb to get rid of him.
And what's crazy, Robbie, is Colin Cowherd was saying today, and I think he's right, that they feel like they're still a draft or two away, and they're this good. Like, imagine
Yeah,
when they get another draft or two with
I
that
know.
front office. They
Imagine
were
if they
really
get
good.
like a incredible pass rusher and maybe a great safety or something,
They're going to be at Super Bowl level, right? I mean, I think
and
so. For the roster.
one or two more linemen, maybe a tight end that's
Hmm.
off the chart. I don't know.
Yeah. Do you think they can
Yeah,
make some noise in these playoffs?
I do.
Yeah, I do
I
too.
do. I think Patriots Chargers is one of the most intriguing matchups there is.
I do too.
That's going to be one you have to watch.
It's in New England. It's going to be cold, and so I give New England the edge. I just think that this time of year, when you get those cold destinations and you take a Chargers team all the way across the country, that's just tough. Without their full team, it's just tough. I like the Patriots in
Yeah.
that game. So the number 1 seed, they have a bye. They're not playing this weekend. The Denver Broncos. They were good all year, often doing it with, you know, baling wire and chewing gum. Sometimes I really every week couldn't figure out how they were winning, but they were winning, usually by 3 points or 2 points or on a last second field goal. But Bo Nix had a really solid season. Dobbins runs well. They have other backs who are pretty good
I
too.
love Sutton.
Cortland Sutton was on my fantasy team as well. He's always deliverable. He's always
He's so
delivering
good.
like you want him to. Their defense is just smothering, absolutely smothering.
It is.
It's fun to watch. And of course, you have Sean Payton, who's one of the X and O guys. I would call him not really a culture builder. He really truly is the X and O guy. They come in ninth in offensive efficiency and much higher than that on the defensive side of the ball. So they're one of the few that are top 10 in both. So what is your take on the Broncos?
They kind of remind me of the Texans, where they have a standout wide receiver and a great defense. And the quarterback is good enough. It's just good enough. Bo Nix is a good quarterback. Peyton's a great coach. And I'll tell you, this defense, I mean, let's talk about it a little bit. They're number one in sacks with 68, so that means lots of
Mm-hmm.
pressure.
Mm-hmm.
They're second in yardage given up, 278 yards per game. They are third in points allowed, and they're second in rushing yards allowed. They're good in every category of defense.
Mm-hmm.
They're good in everything that you can do when you line up on defense. So that to me is huge because I don't know how you attack a defense when there's no weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
And then offensively, they got Sutton, and they're pretty solid in yards per game. They move the ball. So as long as Nix doesn't make any big mistakes, they're going to be moving the ball on offense and creating a real headache for you on defense.
I think your
So
comp of the Houston Texans is correct. I think they're a little better than Houston, of course.
they
Um,
are.
but
They're a little
but
better.
the reason that comp is good is I know they finished ninth offensively, but when you look at them with the eye test, they don't look like that at all. They often struggle for whole halves and find themselves down 14-3 going into the second half, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so and then they find ways to win it in the second half, which is what good teams do. So I just wonder, though, Robbie, sitting at 23 points a game, if they have enough offense to win the Super Bowl. I just really wonder about that. I
I
guess
think
we'll
they might have just
find out.
enough. And let's face it, if you have a defense like that, maybe that defense gets a pick six and also a fumble recovery that gives you the ball on the opponent's 15-yard line. And all you got to do is punch it in. That's like free points. You know what I mean? That's some
If you had to,
freebies that defense might hand the offense. How much offense do they need to score from there? Like maybe another touchdown? Like it's so
if you had to
I
rank the AFC guys, those three teams, how would you put them? Broncos, Jacksonville, and Houston, because I think those are the three best teams in the AFC. How would you rank them 1 to 3?
I think the Jaguars are first, Broncos are second, Texans are third.
Me too. That's exactly how I would rank it, and it's based on the fact that Jaguars have the highest rank in both top tens, offensively and defensively,
I
and I
will
think
tell you
their
that
offense is more functional. Yep.
I listened to an analyst who broke down the last 10 Super Bowl winners. They all had certain criteria that had commonality, which was certain number of, they had to score higher than 10th in total defense. They had to be at least highest 10th in QBR, points allowed, all that stuff. And the only team that made it through all the criteria was the Broncos.
Hmm. I
So
can see
this
that.
is
No, they're a
clearly one
really
of the
good team.
top. They're one of the top four teams. They should
No
be.
question. No question
Do
about
they
it.
have some deficiencies on offense? Yeah. So if I'm an opposing team, I want to possess the ball, and get some scoring going, get a nice little lead, make them chase with Bo Nix, who might be prone to make mistakes, and just shut
They
down Sutton, you know?
they felt like the ASC version of the Eagles on the NFC side this year, where they're at a championship level. You know they've got a great roster. They're really well coached. They've got a good, solid quarterback who doesn't make mistakes. Good defense, and yet you kept waiting all year for their offense to explode, and it just never did. And that's how the Eagles are. Now, it doesn't mean you
That's
can't
right.
in the playoffs in May, but you just kept waiting and waiting and waiting. It just never quite exploded like the Jaguars did.
Right.
So we'll see what happens, but they're certainly one of the contenders. There's no question.
Well, I think that if you look at the analysis, they would be one of the favorites.
No doubt.
But I think it is wide open. Like I don't think
Me
it's
too.
just going to be a runaway um, Chiefs versus Eagles. Everyone else is just in the way. You
I don't
know?
think I've ever seen both brackets be as wide open as it is this year,
Yeah.
both AFC and
Agree.
NFC. Any of these teams could catch fire in the next 2 weeks and make a big headway. So here's some
Hmm.
of the big memes for this week. Look at this lineup, Robbie. Starting tonight, you got Miami, Ole Miss. Tomorrow, you got Oregon, Indiana. Then it goes right into NFL playoffs Saturday. You got the two great games, LA and Panthers and Green Bay, Chicago. That's your Saturday lineup. Sunday, you got three great games. You got the Bills, Jaguars, 49ers, Eagles, and Chargers, Patriots. And then you have a really nice Monday night capper, which is Houston and the Steelers. So, what do you think of these 5 days that are coming our way, man?
Uh, I mean, I'm so excited. Like I'm salivating because I can taste the wings.
That's
I
right.
uh, I don't
Yeah.
see a bad matchup on there.
I don't either. This
Like
is
that.
like
I
as good
mean,
as it gets.
I think that the thing I'm most excited to see is tonight's game, Miami against Ole Miss,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to see the Chargers Patriots.
Mm-hmm. I think that'll be really good too.
But there's
I
so
think
many good
Eagles
matchups.
49ers. Eagles 49ers will be really good.
Bills Jags gonna be
Yeah. Yep.
outrageous. Yeah,
Really good.
Eagles 49ers. I mean,
Yeah.
tremendous teams.
And Green Bay, Chicago. I mean, Green Bay goes into
Yeah,
Chicago. That's a rivalry game. That's an in
yeah,
division game.
that's right.
Anything can happen. So yeah, really, really cool
Rams
to see.
Panthers? No,
I know. Yeah,
not
I'm
really.
excited about it. We'll see what
Yeah,
happens.
let's go. That'd be
Top 10 QBs this year. This is the last end of the season rankings via PPR, which is all QBR rankings. And Josh Allen comes out on top. Drake May 2, Stafford 3, Trevor Lawrence 4. That really surprised me. He jumped all the way up to 4 to end the season. So everyone is saying that he can't hang with these great QBs and he's not a top 5 guy. I don't know about that anymore. He's right in there with these guys.
He's making great throws, good decisions. He's not
Any
throwing a lot of picks like he used to.
any surprises here? You got Goff at 9, Herbert 10.
Not really. I think that's about right.
Yeah, really cool to see when you just look at the pure numbers where these guys came in.
I
So
mean,
next
I
one
don't know
is
where you got. I don't know some of the stats. I mean,
well,
some of the
this is
stats I
coming
have are
right
a
off.
little different, but
It's coming right
it's
off
pretty close.
NFL.com. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, mine are really fresh from today. I don't know,
So
but
as
I
excited,
all I know, Matt Stafford is leading in every category I've seen. But
yeah, no, he is,
what are you
he
gonna
is,
do?
and I think he's going to win the overall MVP. But I think this is just QBR and PPR. So this next one is, although I'm very excited about the Panthers making the playoffs, of course, is very painful for me to look at. Where on the same roster we had Sam Darnold and Baker, and
Yeah,
both of them were standing in our way of getting to the playoffs. So, how do you think Panthers should feel about this with these two guys that, we basically discarded on the trash heap, and they're both, playoff level quarterbacks?
well, the Panthers didn't have Baker very long, so that they get a pass there. Um, yeah, they mismanaged it. I mean, I don't know how else to say it.
It's painful.
There's talented players on the Panthers. You just I don't
I
know.
mean, let's be honest.
Sometimes
Instead of getting Bryce Young, they could have saved all their first round draft picks they gave up for him. They could have gone and got Will Anderson and
no
kept
question.
Sam Darnold. Yeah,
No question. A good GM would have done that.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's painful. This is pretty interesting. ChatGPT ran a simulation. Listen to this, Robbie. 50,000 times. And the average came out as this. This is what their bracket ChatGPT looked like. They had the Bills and the Seahawks facing off, and they had the Bills winning the whole thing. Now, how interesting is that? That our
Possible.
our AI system thinks that Josh is going to get it done finally.
I mean, if James Cook can run and then they can move to Allen throwing the ball and running for first downs. And then if their defense holds up, they got a shot.
If the Bills beat the Jaguars, which I personally don't think they're going to do, but if they do, they're going to be scary. And there's not that many people that can stop them. So,
Yeah, that's right.
so last 10 number one seeds in the NFC, Robbie. This is interesting. Number one seeds, you can see, have not done very well over the years, usually losing either in the divisional round or the NFC Championship game, sometimes in the Super Bowl. Last year, Lions lost in the divisional round to the Commanders. And then, of course, this year you have the Seahawks. So, what is your thought? Are they going to break this trend? Are they going to flame out?
Hard to say. I think that's the $1 million question.
That's why it's fun to watch.
So yeah, that's why it's fun to
Yeah,
watch.
yeah. I think they're going to do better than divisional round at least. I think you'll at least see them in the NFC Championship game. I think.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's interesting to track. The last two times a new pope was elected, the Seahawks have clinched the number one seed and made it to the Super Bowl. Is that interesting? And now we have a new pope.
Hmm.
I know these trends don't mean a whole lot, but it is really interesting to see that every time we get a new pope, the Seahawks go to the Super Bowl. Fascinating.
I'm not sure the Vatican is aware of the NFL playoffs
Yeah, they
fixture,
probably
but
have nothing to do with
possible.
it. I'm sure the Seahawks fans are hoping that this comes true, that the new pope will get them there. The mock draft has Mendoza going one, and if Dante Moore comes out, he would go two to the Jets. And they got Jeremiah Love to the Cardinals as their premier back. Ruben Bain. You got Reese, Jordan Tyson, David Bailey, Makai Lemon, who's that great receiver from USC, Peter Woods, and Caleb Downs, who's the great defensive player for the Ohio State Buckeyes. You can imagine the Bengals are going to want to go mostly defense. So, any thoughts about the mock draft here?
I think I've been saying it for all year. I think this is gonna be a very good draft. I think these are gonna be very pivotal players. There's probably a bust or two in there, but for the most part, these teams are going to be greatly affected by these young players. Um, Players are staying in college longer and getting paid so that they become pros earlier. They arrive in the NFL more prepared to handle their money, their fame. Their bodies are growing. They know how to take care of themselves better
Mm-hmm.
than ever. They may not be as outstanding in terms of quarterback play, in terms of lots of progressions and not quite some of the mental side of it isn't there,
Mm-hmm.
but the athleticism makes up for that. And I think that there's plenty of good quarterback play in college, and I'm very excited about more than just this list. There's a lot of good players that are coming out this year and next year. I think
Mm-hmm.
the next several years in the pros are going to be big beneficiaries of great college football that's going on.
Mm-hmm. 100%. So here's our playoff bracket. Robbie and I are going to make our selections. Robbie, why don't you start off, man? Who do you think? Steelers or Texans?
Texans,
Texans. Okay, I got the Texans as well. Bills or Jags?
Jags.
Jags. I got Jags as well. I think that'll be one of the best games in this first round by far. I think it'll be a 3-point contest, but I think their defense takes over in the second half.
Mhm.
What about the Patriots and Chargers?
I want to say Chargers, but I think Patriots. Patriots.
Yeah, I got Patriots as well. Texans and Broncos.
Broncos.
Broncos. Okay, I got Broncos as well. Um, Jaguars and Patriots.
Jaguars.
I got the Jaguars as well. We're right on top. And then let's talk about Jaguars against the Broncos in the AFC Championship game. Boy, that's gonna be a great
I
game.
I think the Jaguars.
I have the Jaguars too. I have them going to the Super Bowl. I think they're better than the Broncos. as they proved 3 weeks ago with a 3-touchdown drubbing. NFC side, Carolina and the Rams. Don't
Rams.
disappoint me, man. Oh,
No, Rams.
I got Rams too, but I'm not happy about it. 49ers, Eagles.
I'm going Eagles.
I'm going 49ers. That's the one place you and I've differed. I just don't believe in the Eagles this year.
I think the Eagles are going to run it down their throat.
I think it's going to be McCaffrey all day, passing and receiving. Green Bay and the Bears.
I'm going to say Green Bay.
Green Bay, okay. I'm going to say the Bears. I just think they're the better team right now. Green Bay's
I
not
think the
playing very
Bears
well.
defense is so bad that
Yeah. I just think Green Bay, there's something wrong with them the last couple of weeks.
I agree. That's a tough one because I think that the Bears defense is bad,
And
but
it's in
Green Bay's
Chicago.
backed into the playoffs and doesn't look very sharp.
I like how Chicago runs the ball better too. Uh, Seahawks, Rams.
Seahawks, Rams. I'm going to say Rams.
Okay. I'm going to say Seahawks. You've got Eagles and Packers.
I'm going to say Eagles.
Eagles, okay. I've
Mhm.
got Bears and 49ers, and I've got the 49ers going.
Okay.
All right, so NFC Championship game, you've got the Rams and the Eagles.
Yep, I'm going Rams.
Rams, okay. I have Seahawks and 49ers, and I like the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks are the best team this year. So I've got Seahawks and I've got Jaguars. You've got Rams and Jaguars.
Mhm.
Who's your champion? Let's go ahead to the next slide here. And the subscriber challenge question of the week, guys, is who is going to win Super Bowl 60? So drop us a comment. We love all your comments. We'll read them on the air. Tell us who you guys think of the 14 teams is going to win the Super Bowl. So, Robbie?
I believe it's going to be the Jaguars.
Do you really?
Hmm.
I've got the Seattle Seahawks winning the Super Bowl over the Jaguars in a very good game, like 30-27 type game.
I think the
I think
Jaguars are going to beat the Rams.
yeah, yeah. I think the Seahawks are the best team this year by far. We'll see what happens. So, Robbie, before we get started, man, we had a really fun food draft last year. It was a lot of fun. We talked about all the things we would draft on our list.
Yep.
So what are you planning to have for your snacks, man, throughout these playoffs? You were saying you were salivating over
All this
chicken.
stuff.
You want all of
Wings,
it?
wings, cheese sticks,
You're like, yes, please.
nachos, queso, sliders.
Yeah, some sliders, burger sliders,
Yeah. Cut up
pizza.
some pizza into small pieces.
Oh man, I'm getting hungry now.
I know.
This looks
Onion rings
fantastic.
look good.
Yeah, I'm planning to have all this too. I can't wait. So let's go to the mailbag.
All right, let's do it. We did our college review, on campus review. First one, excellent episode. Thanks by Abu Sufyan. That
Thanks, Abu. Yeah,
was a good little encouraging.
thanks for that. Yeah, we do our best to crank out the best episodes every week for you guys.
Here's one, episode 101, buy or sell and key bowls update equals must watch. Drop your buy sell takes below. That was from Adam Smith.
Wow. You know, Rob has
Yeah.
come up with a lot of good ideas on this channel, and one of the best ones was buy sell. We're going to be incorporating that into our weekend updates as well. And that's
Yeah, I do like buy sell.
replacing our old segment, which used to be called Winners and Losers. So thank you so much. Yeah, we're glad you like that segment.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Adam Smith. Next one is episode 101 and still bringing it, bringing fire. Great breakdown as always from Motherhood 9.
Oh, that's awesome. Thanks,
Yeah,
Motherhood.
it's very encouraging. Thanks, Motherhood.
Yeah, we appreciate that. Thanks for watching.
Yeah. And then been a really fun tournament. I picked Indiana from the beginning, far and away the best by DPT Coaching Channel.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, thanks, Rick. That's my friend Rick. Thanks for watching, man. And
Yeah.
I know you liked Indiana. He actually liked them last year too, and I know you did too, Robbie.
Yeah, I did.
He's rooting for them to win the whole thing. I know.
I want to see Indiana against Miami.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Two clashing styles.
Yeah. And no SEC or well, Big Ten in there, but get the ACC in there.
Yeah.
I can see in the picture there. I'm wearing my our merch sweatshirt.
Yeah.
Same
Very
same
cool.
as the funny picture.
What a cool sweatshirt that is.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the mailbag.
All right, Robbie. Well, man, we are heading into 5 straight days of playoff games, both college and pro. Anything you're most excited about, other than the snacks we just showed, of course?
Well, first of all, thanks so much for Academy Sports. Really appreciate their support as
Yep.
always.
They were our sponsor
Second,
tonight.
excited about all these games. These next 5 days are going to be just grinding, unbelievable action. Can't wait. Maybe some surprises in there, maybe a blowout here or there, but most of these matchups are going to be solid. We got the boys got sports this weekend, and so I'm excited about all those things. Uh, the college and pro going back to back is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Very excited. Check out our merch store, and thanks for coming on
Mm-hmm.
the journey with us. And those are kind of my thoughts.
Yeah, and guys, drop us a comment like we asked you for on who you think is going to win the Super Bowl, but also tell us who you think is going to win each round too. I know that Rob and I just picked our bracket. There's no way it will go that way. I mean, neither Rob
No,
or I will be correct. It'll probably, matter of fact, I'm wondering if either of those teams will make it to the Super Bowl. That's how wide open these playoffs are. So
but
we
that's how
shall
fun
see.
it is that it's that wide open where there's no way to really predict it. Everyone's gonna say, "Oh, I knew the whole time," but no, nobody knows.
Mm-hmm.
This is a really wide open one. There's no Patrick Mahomes dominating, making other teams look dumb. Like these are really good matchup, really
Mm-hmm.
good, um, well-coached teams that have young upstart players that aren't the usual suspects in terms of it's
Mm-hmm.
always the same guys. Um, and in some cases, there are some of the old timers in there.
Mm-hmm.
You got Aaron Rodgers, you got Josh Allen. I mean, there's plenty of quarterbacks that have been around a while still in there, but it's a whole new crop, a whole new day, and the
Mm-hmm.
amount of um, parity is showing up in a very cool set of matchups, and I really
Mm-hmm.
like that.
I do too. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun to watch. I mean, obviously, we are going to bring you our Super Bowl preview show like we did the last 2 seasons, and in both of those episodes, Robbie, you and I chose a different team, which
Hmm.
makes it fun for the watchers and listeners because
Yeah, much
you
better
and I
than
don't always have to
us.
agree. Yeah,
Yeah, better than us always agreeing on everything. Um, how exciting is it that 6 of the 14 teams weren't in it last year? I
I
mean,
love.
we shouldn't take that for granted. That's really cool.
Mhm. It is.
That's a really good thing. And so we're very fortunate to have such a good set of matchups. And it'll be fun to check back and say, "Ooh, we got that wrong," or "Ooh,
Hmm.
that we didn't see that injury." That's going to dramatically affect the way things go down. So,
Hmm.
um, but that's the fun of it. Glad you're going on the journey with us.
Well, guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel, enjoy the next 5 days of football. Turn off your phone, do whatever you got to do to have uninterrupted football all the way. And next time we'll see you guys on an episode will be after all of it's over, and we'll bring you all the results from those incredible games. So have a lot of fun.
Yep.
And
See you soon.
thank you, Academy Sports, for sponsoring this episode. And we'll see you guys next time on the Sports Guys. Have a good one.
See you.